manifest in the Genie system. Imagine for a moment that there are many possible futures for evolution on our planet. Some have more energy, a greater likelihood of happening than others. With the help of the Ascended Masters, we have magnetized the one possible future that proves we made it. In other words, of all the possible futures that could exist, the one that proves we made it to Christ consciousness would produce a Christ consciousness grid. With this grid in place in the etheric realm, it is already magnetizing us toward that outcome. With this grid in place, it is far easier to lock into Christ consciousness behavior. Much like a GPS in your automobile locks onto your destination, and no matter what turn you take, it constantly recalculates your next move based on your current position. In the same way, the Christ consciousness grid serves to assist planetary ascension. Now we can understand the statement we have heard from many teachers that our outcome is assured. Every journey begins with movement away from or toward something. When you anchor the destination in your awareness, the remaining issues are what mode of transportation you will use and what route you will take. Thus, the adventure becomes the journey, rather than the decision of where to go. All possible futures can exist. Some have more energy, a greater likelihood of happening, than others. If you were a being of light at any level, and you wanted to ensure that the planetary ascension occurred, wouldn't you pick out something that represented the planet's evolution, Christ consciousness, and anchor it into the present? That is exactly what the Ascended Masters did. They pulled the blueprint of the Christ consciousness grid from a version of the future that says we made it. We arrived at our Christed expression. This way the future would be assured. What impact does that have on you? It means that every action that is fifth dimensional, or operating from a vantage point of unconditional love, will resonate with the Christ consciousness grid, thus attracting more of the same energy to make it easier and easier to resonate for all of us at Christ consciousness level. Every human action that is operating from unconditional love, the fifth dimension, is attracted to the Christ consciousness grid, and each perfected action serves to amplify it. This means that with the Christ consciousness grid in place, perfected human behavior is easier for all to express. Power in the form of the Christ consciousness grid. While on the big island of Hawaii on a dolphin swim, I helped my friend John Emmon build a physical replica of the Christ consciousness grid out of brass rods, using metal solder to connect the points. We were pretty excited about it. We then went to see the Kilauea volcano lava flow with the Christ consciousness grid replica in tow. I had no idea what John had in mind. We hiked into the area and got as close as we could to a moving lava flow, about 3 to 5 feet from us. He set it down on the ground directly in the path the flow would take. Since it was metal, we expected that as the lava moved closer it would melt or collapse the metal structure. What happens next is burned clearly in my mind. The lava moved into the space in front of it and then split into 2 streams around it, like a fork in a river. The lava diverted around it completely and did not affect it. We stayed for a few hours, expecting that eventually it would melt from the heat. By the time we left, it was still fully intact, unaffected by the heat. It was an exciting moment for me, to recognize the sheer power of the geometric shape. Can you see it? Many individuals have seen the Christ consciousness grid. It is an energetic grid that sits above the earth about 60 miles and is described as a beautiful geometric pattern. Some people see its appearance similar to the flower of life pattern. When you are looking at it from the inside, with your energetic awareness, it resembles the flower of life symbol. See figure 13.2. Figure 13.2. Flower of life symbol. In reality, it is a stellated dodecahedron. Its color is whitish with fairly broad lines. Those who have seen it are filled with a sense of gratitude and awe. It is best seen from locations with limited ambient light, such as Alaska, Hawaii, or the middle of the ocean. In truth, you can see it from anywhere on a dark night, as long as you are in a place where the sky has not been artificially lit. A former Navy man, Daryl, used to see it at night from his perch on an airplane wing while sailing in the Pacific. He saw it all the time. Back then he didn't know what it was. Perhaps you have unknowingly seen it as well. I first saw the grid while in Alaska for a workshop. I mentioned it in class the next day and discovered many of the residents in Fairbanks had seen it. One of the things I had been told by my guides that year was that my trip to Egypt was directly connected to my trip to Alaska. My guides showed me that I was building a link between Alaska and Egypt, and it was directly related to the Christ consciousness grid. I would be bringing energy from Alaska to Egypt for the purpose of stabilizing the grid in the Middle East. One participant in my class had traveled from an area very near to Denali National Park and Preserve, midway between Anchorage and Fairbanks. She realized that my connection from Alaska to Egypt was extremely important and offered to ask her husband to bring us heart-shaped stones from their backyard, which was adjacent to this national preserve. She brought 6 heart-shaped stones to me. Our group energized the stones with our own heart energy and energy from Alaska. The Alaskan participants gave permission to create a link to Egypt and the Middle East. I placed the stones in a special bag that would be used during the Egypt trip. I traveled from Fairbanks, then to New York, and then Egypt with a brief stopover in my home city. Each location in Egypt, from Aswan to Alexandria, was energized by the stones, with a culminating ceremony in Alexandria, where the Egyptian Society for Esoteric Knowledge accepted the last stones on behalf of the Middle East. At the temple site of Abu Simbel, I handed the bag of stones to a participant named Donna, who was selected because of a vision she had received some 6 months earlier about our trip. She was leading a special ceremony connecting the grids above Abu Simbel to the Alaskan counterpart. I had been guided that our group was to hold a special ceremony in Ramses Temple, while connecting it, the temple, with its original location on the physical earth. When the Aswan Dam was built in Egypt, much of the surrounding area was flooded by the creation of Lake Nasser. All of the incredible structures of Abu Simbel were in the flood path, so they were eventually moved to their current location. Many other sacred sites were lost or flooded. There are remnants of some of the Egyptian temples in museums around the world, because city after city agreed to dismantle and move these treasures in order to save this part of Egyptian heritage. In the case of Abu Simbel, the entire structure, including the 465-foot statues of Ramses, were carefully cut, disassembled, reassembled, and relocated just a few feet from its original location, which is now underwater. The new location is on the same island in the Nile, but on higher ground. Care was taken to make sure that this temple is facing the direction it was originally facing. However, in order to maximize the mountain that is there, it is just a few degrees off. As a result, the sun enters the temple on October 23rd, one day later than the original date of the coronation of the king, for which it was designed. On this date, the sun enters the open door of the temple, penetrates through the pitch-black corridor of the hypostyle hall under 8 pillars, each carved into a colossus of the king, and finally illuminates the seated statues at the back of the sanctuary. It is important to note there was another individual who had intended to join our group, but at the last minute decided to wait until October 23rd to be there. We met later that trip at our farewell party, where another tale of synchronicity occurred. Our connection called us to pass on the lineage of activation. It was imperative that she met me and connect with our energy, as it was needed for the final step of the activation of that temple, which would occur after our group departed on October 23rd. She was called to do that part. On Ellie Crystal's website, she told a story about a friend whose deceased father traveled with her in the ethers. Asking her what she saw, she answered, "Grids." He said, "That is correct. That is all there is. Construction issues." Ron Holt, former president of Flower of Life Research, now closed, and a self-proclaimed gridworker, reports there are sections of the Christ consciousness grid that were blown open. He has been guided to work with the grid in healing these areas. On occasion, he has asked other grid workers to work with him in performing maintenance and repair. I have seen this in the Middle East as well. Patricia Diane Cota Robles has also reported similar disruptions in the grid and a reflection on the opposite side of the planet expressing these blows. It also makes sense that a calm area across the globe could support its energetic opposite. If you are a grid worker, you probably know it. You may have even seen the grid. Many of my students used to belong to the Gridworkers Union, a group of individuals who met monthly, by telephone, to share their work and encourage one another. If you find that you have a keen interest in this subject, you probably are partially responsible for the maintenance of one or more grids. More Middle East stress. Negativity in the Middle East has caused a huge amount of stress on this grid. Because of the fierce antipathy among many factions of the world religions focused in the Middle East, in 2007 my Sacred Journey group was called to place an energetic device in the atmosphere above Mount Sinai. Later it was used to work with a peace grid designed to support harmonizing the 3 major world religions. The Christ Consciousness Grid was activated in January of 2008, birthed with the move of Pluto into Capricorn. I was called into service to be involved in the birthing of this grid, and worked closely with the Ascended Masters and Unseen Helpers along with hundreds of others in programming and supporting the activation of this grid. It was not until after I saw everything go dark, from west to east in a type of power outage occurring within my field of vision, that I realized that mass consciousness had been disengaged from an old grid and the new one activated. The Merkaba field is similar to this, allowing individuals to personally acquire their own perfection suits. These sacred geometry fields are remarkable tools that support the evolution of creation in its return to God. 14. Maintaining balance and staying connected. What you will learn in this chapter. Pulling it together. Contracts with the universe. Multiple versions of the reality. Misuses of emotional energy. Messages from Sanat Kumara, Divine Feminine, and Archangel Michael. Are you wondering how this will all work? Maybe you are excited. Maybe you are scared. For sure there is change in the air. You, and hundreds before you, have felt the same way. It is my great pleasure to participate in assisting this process in reaching the highest potential of your own ascension work. You are an amazing individual to have reached this pinnacle, toward the fulfillment of your destiny. The inner guru is your higher self. This is your time to achieve your fullest potential. The Merkaba is one tool that activates your 5th-dimensional memories. You no longer have to rely on some other teacher or leader. The tools and practices I have been given to share with you, dear reader, will connect you with your inner guru, your higher self. Time for celebration. The new Earth is manifesting very quickly. The so-called Earth changes are on a different timetable from what had been given previously. In August 2009, while I was in Japan, I was given a direct connection with Sanat Kumara. He appeared in numerous photographs like this one. His signature is found in the ruby ray. It typically appears as 2 sharp rays at 90-degree angles, aimed toward the Earth as shown in figure 14.1. All of the photos of this sunset taken over that entire afternoon, about an hour apart from first to last, contained this visual confirmation of his presence. I was so intrigued by the presence of this energy in the photos that I asked my Japanese host if she had ever heard of Sanat Kumara. Her response was enthusiastic, so on that same trip we made a pilgrimage to Mount Kurama near Kyoto, Japan, the location where, legend has it, Sanat Kumara's spaceship landed. There is a wonderful collection of shrines there, along with an ancient statue of Sanat Kumara. It was an amazing journey. In the channeling of my own record keepers and Sanat Kumara, they identified me as a most ancient being of light. When I asked the purpose of my trip to Mount Kurama, they said it was to anchor in the ancient memories that I had chosen to continue carrying as enlightenment to the world. We assembled the questions below to clarify some of the information. We have reached the victory celebration. Although we have not gone through the graduation ceremony, enough has been accomplished to assure your outcome. The only remaining question is, how many of you will attend the party? The following section contains questions from my staff with answers from Sanat Kumara speaking for the Ascended Masters and channeled through me. I did not review or plan these questions in advance. Figure 14.1. The signature of the Ascended Master Sanat Kumara typically appears as two sharp rays aimed toward the Earth at right angles. Earth changes from Mother Earth. Sanat Kumara steps forward to speak for the Ascended Masters. The first thing we wish to speak of is the Earth changes. Mother Earth is waiting for mankind to catch up and make its ascension so that when the Earth goes through its changes, those who are ready will be waiting for Mother Earth. Destructive Earth changes will not occur on the version of Earth of the Ascended humanity. The changes will not be noticeable to those who are on the ascending Earth. We want you to understand that the Earth and her people are no longer at risk. The sounding of the alarm is simply to ensure that everyone who wants to transform may do so and take advantage of this opportunity. Mother Earth will ascend. By announcing the opportunity in advance, she gives the ability for many to join in the activity, much as a sale is advertised to give everyone the chance to participate. The Earth is transforming. The Earth is taking her time so that everyone who wants to evolve may do so. There is no rush. Everything is in order. We are not suggesting that you avoid acting as you are compelled. What we are saying is that it no longer serves you to feel anxious about your ego demanding action. There is a definite timeline and all of the forces of heaven are supporting your success. You will not change things through rhetoric. You will only change things by accessing and using the new data. Opening your heart. Do the Merkaba meditation. Always seize the opportunity to accept a blow to the heart. Build a connection to your higher self by practicing your higher self connection. Increase the capacity of your pranic tube through your toning and chanting work. Look at every opportunity to expand your heart as a means of increasing your capacity to carry unconditional love. All this will lead the way to your ascension. What key elements are primary in this book? The first key element is to focus on the opening of your heart. Part of this process is the emotional clearing work that will enable you to expand your heart's capacity to hold unconditional love. In each person, unconditional love is like a seed that can grow and expand. The second key element is the activation and expansion of your higher self connection. Many of you already have a higher self connection, but the tools found in this book will ensure 100% accuracy. Finally, above all else, integrity is required for these elements to work. Misuses of emotional energy. Whether it's the water cooler or Facebook or Twitter, you can find many examples of the slowdown of human progress toward ascension by individuals investing their emotional energy in these things. During the Renaissance, mankind began to remember the knowledge that came from the grid or network of energy that was first formed in the ethers of planet Earth at that time. This cycle was moving individuals very quickly toward ascension. However, at that time even the suggestion that the Earth was not the center of the universe was considered heresy and condemned by the Pope. Where did the Pope get his guidance? It came from the extraterrestrial known as Anu. Not only did Anu, through the Pope, arrest the development of the Renaissance, he also slowed to a crawl the high training that was offered in Egypt centuries earlier. At this time in history there are forces attempting to slow down humanity's progress. This is the subject of many books. Our purpose here is to help you see that outside forces that you may think you should respect may have agendas that you do not understand or know about. Stay with the Merkaba meditation and you will be able to see those whose agendas are counter to humanity's ascension into the light. Every September in the United States there are big ceremonies to commemorate the 9/11 losses. It is a time when many individuals focus on their grief, and their losses are brought to light. You may have felt deep sadness and grief on these days as you channeled the massive energies of the American people. One year I was in another country across the globe and felt immense sadness on September 12th. Only when I asked, "What is going on?" and tied my feelings to the date did I realize I was feeling it as Americans were feeling it, in real time, since I was 12 hours ahead on the clock. Only then did I know I was feeling this particular energy. When you are experiencing deep energies like this, consider using emotional clearing techniques. This will enable you to move through this energy quickly. I wrote extensively about this in Reweaving the Fabric of Your Reality. My point here is to alert you to these deep-seated emotions, such as fear and grief, so you can decide to move through them. Decide that you are the maker of your destiny, not susceptible to some outside force that is throwing you a curveball through these intensely painful memories. And always ask that your helpers be beings of 100% God light. Healing in the King's Chamber. There are many theories about the purpose of the King's Chamber inside the Great Pyramid. Although you may have been told it was an ancient pharaoh's burial site, there has never been any evidence of anyone ever being buried there. No bodies have been found and there is no writing of prayers and spells on the walls, unlike the burial sites on the west bank of Luxor and in the Valley of the Kings, which are covered with beautiful paintings and writing. Duat is the Egyptian name given to the space between dimensions, the space one must cross to return home to God. Just as the Nile River separates the Valley of the Kings from the civilization on the other side, the Duat, or Great Void, is said to exist between the Creator and creation. There is an unusual system of chambers and passages running throughout the Great Pyramid, and this may have represented ancient efforts to create a permanent duat. The Egyptians believed the Nile also represented this duat, and thus associated crossing the Great Void with the crossing of the Nile. I believe the king's chamber may have been a healing sound chamber. The wavy granite walls above this chamber are open, with a texture reminiscent of the sponge pyramids found covering the walls of our contemporary sound studios. They are used to break up the standing wave ratio that would occur in any room, especially a double square. The double square shape will give maximum amplification, volume, while embodying the phi ratio in the 90-degree angle. However, the standing wave ratio will cause one pitch to be louder than all the rest. Try this sometime in your bathroom. Sing low to high, sliding through pitches like a trombone or slide whistle. This breaking up of the standing wave ratio produces a normal balanced sound with which to ride the sound wave back home to God. The portal of the sound aimed at the duat, the heavens, filled with 3 layers of granite, each with a rough-hewn side toward the sky, supports this idea of the chamber being an amplifying sound chamber aimed at the heavens. I believe the purpose of the king's chamber is a healing room where one rides the sound through the duat and reconnects with the Creator. In that special location with the Creator, a new body part can be regenerated that will allow a person to be whole again. This could be true for all kinds of healing, physical, mental, and emotional. Many individuals have experienced sudden or spontaneous healings there. In all cases that I know of, the healings took place during sound ceremonies within the king's chamber. Toning in the king's chamber can heal deep-seated wounds. This chamber was designed to concentrate electrons for resurrection. You can experience this energy for yourself through the use of my 2 CD set Sounds from the Great Pyramid. Toning in the King's Chamber, also available as a download. Survival signals. Many individuals have developed gut reactions because of difficult situations they have endured throughout their lives. Those who have developed some sort of survival mechanism that tells them when something is not safe know how to react in similar circumstances. They can sense when a condition is not going well and know they need to get out of it. See Survival Psychics in Chapter 10. When you follow the higher self practice, and the exercise of asking the higher self yes, no questions, you will discover that this type of communication becomes clearer. These signals, once given a voice, will help you be proactive rather than reactive. This will have an impact on your future and quite possibly change your past. You are a magical being and need to honor what you came to do. Even late bloomers can make a difference. Working for social change is important work, no matter what it is, and may be part of your divine plan. Anytime you decide to join others and take a stand for what you believe in, you are making a change for the better. Even your physical ailments may improve. A small body of determined spirits fired by an unquenchable faith in their mission can alter the course of history. Mahatma Gandhi. Manifestation through the heart. Remember that any of your emotions you experience through your heart will serve as rocket fuel for your manifestations. The unconditional love you move through your heart is key to manifesting. Learning to use emotions that you cycle through your heart is an ideal way to manifest. In my You Are the Genie in the Bottle workshop, I encourage participants to spend a certain amount of time on developing their heart energy and growing their awareness of their loving outlook. They learn how to expand the feeling of opening the heart. It is very valuable to choose emotions that you direct and move through your heart, so you are fully connected to your God essence. There are many spiritual practices that can help you, and many examples throughout this book. I encourage you to explore these and practice them until you actually feel different. Look for ways to support this inner growth and you will find them. Sanat Kumara speaks of emotional clearing. Humanity is still hanging on to its emotions, thinking that is who they really are. People need to understand that their emotions are simply something they have manufactured that has enabled them to experience the reality more precisely. Feeling it is necessary, as emotion is an aspect of the polarity creation. Emotion has a life cycle and must be expressed. Once expressed, emotion zeroes out and this neutral chi can no longer contaminate the earth. Emotion is energy, or chi, that has been imbued with feeling that must be expressed. Emotions are useful tools for experiencing the reality. However, when emotion was created, it was not intended to cause so much pain and suffering. This pain and suffering have caused huge rifts in the etheric fabric of mankind and the earth. Much emotional baggage has been seated in the earth. This is what is now being cleared. Many are being called to clear it. They are experiencing excessive emotion, thinking that they have not done their personal emotional clearing work. Actually, most of that is excess baggage you are clearing on behalf of your brothers and sisters, as well as yourself, in other lifetimes. Fortunately, it is not a difficult task. You do not have to go through a deeply emotional process for this to be resolved and cleared. Think of someone who has a big debt, who is given the chance to pay the debt at 10 cents on the dollar. You are in the final upswing toward God. If you do not allow this to move through you, it will cause further pain. Do your part, feel pain and release it. We assure you, Plenty of opportunity will be given to you to feel emotional pain and heal it. It does not require you to stay in pain. Acknowledge it, release it, and move on. You are not expected to do this alone. Always seek help. There is no reason to suffer or struggle alone. The experiences are noted and validated. This work is personal planetary ascension work. You have the trainers, the cheerleaders, the caterer, the towels, but you still have to do your part. Higher self connection. The second key element of the book is the higher self connection. The higher self will give you everything you need and teach you everything you need to know. It will enable you to be where you need to be and help you to recognize what to do, even when to do it. Some of you will be called to move, some to stay. Some will be asked to sell everything, others will be called to donate to worthy causes. Some will be asked to build something new. Ask your higher self to guide your every decision. Get in the habit of asking about everything consistently. Do not use your higher self to answer a question so that you can get permission to take a deliberate action. If you do that, you are still using your ego to make a decision. Instead, seek to ask your higher self what the best course of action for you and others would be. In this way, you will be merging your ego with your higher self. For example, if you are avoiding someone, and you know the person might be at an event you'd like to attend, do not ask your higher self if that person will be there. Instead, ask your higher self, is it in my highest and best good to go to the event? Integrity. Always act from a place of integrity. Do your best to be truthful. Do your best to be honest and sincere. Do not make little exceptions to the rules you have agreed to and then wonder why the universe treats you like you are in lack. Do not allow a misunderstanding to exist by your default. Do not allow words to be spoken that lead someone in a different direction from what you know to be truthful. So if someone asks you, were you at this place? And you were, but do not want to admit it, tell the truth anyway. Do not say, well, I was kind of busy last night with a friend, and push the question away. That would be a form of concealment that is no longer tolerated. Step into your power and speak your truth. When you deliberately try to trick someone so you will have more money, more power, as in a relationship, or whatever you believe is your right, you are telling us, the universe, you do not trust that the universe can take care of you. The ego is out there trying to make it happen for you. As long as you do these things, you are giving your ego more power than your higher self. We say to you that the new way does not have room for an out-of-integrity response of any kind to any circumstance. If you find you are out of integrity, clean up your messes, like spilled milk. No big deal. What should I do if I was out of integrity a long time ago? Stay in the moment. Do not worry about the past unless it is the immediate past. If the present moment is influenced by the immediate past, then you must speak the truth. You must stay in integrity. However, if your current situation is influenced by the distant past and this information has nothing to do with the present, then leave it alone. Yet, if you are in a discussion and the distant past does indeed have a bearing on the present, then you must speak the truth. Why did Sanat Kumara come forward through Maureen at this time? Maureen's recent visit to Japan activated her memory of lifetimes being with Sanat Kumara. I recognized Sanat Kumara the very first time I saw his image more than 30 years ago. You may have recognized him, too. His representation is found in the familiar painting from the Sistine Chapel of the bearded, long white-haired man, God the Father, reaching for the hand of man. William Blake's popular etching The Ancient of Days, another name for Sanat Kumara, can easily be found on the internet. Any remarks as to the accuracy and validity of the book? Maureen's information is mostly channeled. She is a highly accurate channel. Maureen does not like to be made special and seeks to avoid aggrandizing, so we will leave it at that. Her channeling is 100% accurate. Is it possible to know who spoke through Maureen? It was mostly her higher self and Archangel Michael who provided the information that was given here. Much of what came through was the result of seekers like you who desired to learn. This created the space to hear and know. Additionally, Maureen has access to the dimension that had been closed for millions of years. She wrote of this in the first chapter. Her most significant information came through after that portal opened for her. This information had to be accessed by a human, not the Ascended Masters. She is not the only one who has access, but she is one of a select few. Describe the role of humanity in regard to Mother Earth at this time. Humanity has always had a stewardship role toward Mother Earth that it has abused, but it is now coming back full circle. What about the higher self? The inner guru is your higher self. Do your part so that you have clear communication with your higher self. That is, the higher self is of prime importance, everything else follows. Regarding prediction and prophecy on the planet, like that of the Mayans and the meaning of their prophecy, can you comment on that? You are about to work on co-creating the new reality and the impact on prophecy will be substantial. Prophecy is meant to be wrong. People often overlook this. In order for prophecy to be successful, it has to not happen. Then it accomplished what was intended. Prophecy reveals a potential problem and points a spotlight on it. Mankind is given the opportunity to do something about it. Thus it reveals a problem, which then causes humanity and individuals to shift and change. The Mayan prophecy did much to gather people. It opened their awareness to circumstances and gave them a working template. It invited people to identify what they needed to understand and got them to do something about it. Humanity needed to have something to work with since most were not aware of the problem. Many have been drawn to this knowledge and shifts have already occurred. Prophecy provides meaning so that the changes can be understood. If that had not been provided as a tool, it would cease to have meaning. Even prophecy itself is subject to interpretation. There are many ways to view and understand indigenous peoples' information. Mass consciousness seems to place value on predictions based on scientific research, particularly that it has been observed that the Earth shifts every 13,000 years and Sanat Kumara interrupts. We disagree. This is not a mass consciousness belief. Those who are using scientific knowledge to propel their own agendas are a small group. Science is useful when it helps consciousness shift and change. It is not useful when it fails to do so. Science is simply one way of interpreting the reality. It is not the only way, as indigenous people will tell you. It happens to be a common way of thinking on the planet right now, and when science provides information for the evolution of mankind that matches with spiritual teachings, then it is appropriate. Otherwise, it is not useful. There has been no real new knowledge, that is, discoveries, in science over the last 50 years. Much has been learned about details that were not known. However, the basic understanding in the quantum physics field has not changed. Science needs to catch up to the whole idea of how consciousness views the reality. Once this occurs, shifts and changes in spiritual thinking will occur as well. Although this process has begun, much more is needed. 25. Rather than using doom and gloom as a reason to change, look upon your own desire to create change as the reason to change. Some will wake up one day and decide they will do something different. So can you. You do not need a crisis in order to change. What should we do if we find ourselves surrounded by persons filled with doom and gloom? Champion their rights to have those feelings. There is no need for resistance in the evolved soul. Evolved souls want their friends to be happy. If doom and gloom is their choice, they may have it. Give up the need to be right, the need to know, to feel above or superior to others. You are moving to a place where you are a perfected one. If they want doom and gloom, that is their choice. They will find others who share that preference. If you do not wish for that, there is no threat to you, as you will find evolved souls who want to share in what you desire. What if we are in fear and want to hoard? Should we just ignore our feelings? Fear is unnecessary. Go back to basics and make sure you are practicing the Merkaba and developing your higher self connection. Then we ask that you check in with your higher self. We ask you to remember the changes that were predicted at the end of year 2000, called Y2K. Remember when you were asked to prepare for computers malfunctioning, stores shutting down, and all kinds of chaos? Many feared this. Maureen asked her higher self what she should do and was told, nothing. She asked, should I set aside water? The answer was no, I do not need to. Again, no. Furthermore, if your higher self tells you not to hoard water, it means the water will be provided for you. Do not manage your system with your ego or fear. Do this from a point of surrender where you have joined with God, making God's will your will. In this way there is no conflict and you will always be guided to go where you need to go or be. Is protection really needed? Do we need to seek protection daily? If you do not have a Merkaba, then yes, you should seek protection. An activated Merkaba does not require protection. How should we call upon Archangel Michael for protection? Archangel Michael is the original sponsor of the Merkaba on this planet. Not many know this. 26 Archangel Michael is here to provide protection if you need protection. However, understand that he had the wisdom to teach mankind the Merkaba so they could become their fifth dimensional selves and not need his protection. For people who do not know what to do, say, Archangel Michael, help me, help me, help me. Help me clear my fear. Do I need to be afraid? Do I need to do something? Maybe the fear is leading you to an important action. Is there a way to seek out others who are like-minded? We encourage you to create study groups. Support one another in your soul's growth. Allow others to be who they need to be. How can someone validate experiences when having thoughts like, am I making this up? Or, this cannot be real? The very act of the ego trying to validate experiences will negate them. We ask you to step back from trying to make things happen, including validating your experiences, and instead allow them to delight and surprise you. When an experience occurs, you have a choice. You may consider the possibility that you are imagining things, or you could accept the possibility that you are not making it up and that it is real. We say do both. This way you offer no resistance to the reality or yourself. Then ask your angels and guides to give you additional information about the experience. It may come in the form of synchronicity. It may come through understanding its purpose and meaning, and what is really happening. Often understanding grows through the higher self educating the individual. Each experience that is explained by the higher self provides a basis of understanding for the next experience. In this way the higher self shows the way. How do multiple realities, alternate realities, and interdimensionality integrate with religious doctrine? Religious doctrine is invented by man. So, too, are multiple versions of realities. They are ways to understand consciousness in form. The body vibrates in agreement with what it needs. When it no longer needs the religious dogma, it will move on to other possibilities. As mass consciousness changes the ability to comprehend greater and greater expanses of awareness, it increases the likelihood of understanding multiple versions of the reality and letting go of the need for doctrine to dictate the reality. Will past life regression help us move toward ascension? We are quite concerned about individuals seeking past life regression information. There is a reason that many who seek do not receive past life information. They then decide they must take a class and learn more. We say to you that their information is locked. Why would they have a past life locked from them? Our answer is that they have already completed their work on earth and are back as helpers or way showers. They do not need to open their records as their ascension is already assured. They are not here to earn ascension, as they are already complete. Instead, these way showers can ask, what am I to do here? There are people who will benefit from regression work. However, if your regression session turns up empty, count your blessings. Do not assume there is something wrong with you. Do not go into ego and reevaluate the situation. Decide to let go of your need to know and move on to the next moment. If you have gone to a reputable person and nothing comes up, it most likely means your records are locked. If you were to access them, it would be a disadvantage. It is like a trust fund, secure, but not available now. What is the most benevolent outcome we can hold for Mother Earth as a vision in our consciousness? See the Garden of Paradise. Do not judge when a species dies. Do not judge when something in nature goes awry. See mankind as being part of the solution in ways that support co-creation of all. In each moment be guided by your higher self. If you walk down the street and are guided to pick up a piece of garbage, do it because you can. If you are led to a homeless person who asks for money, your higher self knows if it will be beneficial to give a gift at that time. Respond with your higher self accordingly. Change your own inner consciousness and all else will follow. Is there a way to change the popular belief that our governments are secretive and self-serving? Pray that each and every government official worldwide will be guided by legions of angels, his own higher self, and beings of light. Do this once a day. This is the end of the channeled question and answer session. Contracts with the universe, advanced contracts. In the polarity world of form, you do not always tend to work in a spontaneous environment. The more you create in the reality, the more you will desire to create. Your desire to create is the inspiration to create bigger plans, ideas, and concepts. Fifth dimension is the world of infinite manifestation. By contrast, in the three-dimensional world of form, manifestation takes time. You are the process. So part of the process of the contract is to examine all the aspects, subsets, and layers of the creation as it becomes manifest, rather than going right to the full expression. In the fifth dimensional world of instant manifestation, if you wanted to have a son, you would receive a completely grown son. You would miss all the fun of enjoying him as a baby, watching him evolve, participating in the process, and seeing him grow and become an adult man. Part of the pleasure that we give to ourselves, and God, in our creation work as co-creators is that we get to examine all the steps of the creation. This is very fractal-like. Have you ever heard that a person's birth experience is just like her life experience? If she has a difficult time in the final hours of her birth, she could have a difficult time in her life when she gets close to completing something. I have seen this consistently. The approach we use to set things in motion at birth becomes a template and a form of a contract. When we are ready for something new, this template supports us by giving us something familiar to relate to with our new experience. Of course, at the end of the day, the template tends to be the messenger, and the content is the echo of the message. We use this methodology to create what we know, until we decide it is time to create something new and different. Thus, we create familiar patterns that come into play through circumstances that unfold. We are in agreement as to what action might be taken. In other words, we agree to do new things in old and familiar ways until we are completely able to adopt new ways. Default template. Our default template shows us the way. We continue to behave in a certain way until we decide we would like to do something different. If we decide to change, we consciously look at an old situation while creating a new template. When we learn something new from a teacher, such as how to stop reacting to people and situations in a familiar negative way, we create our new template for staying in joy, and then we can select new and different experiences to use it more and more. This allows us to shift from our original construct, so we break the pattern and create something new. Our contract, which was the original construct, encompasses a much larger picture. In most cases it is fractal-like, and, like a hologram, has larger and smaller versions of the same picture encoded in it. There are also circumstances where you could deviate from that. When you deviate, what you get is variation on a theme. We find this in classical music. For example, think of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony No. 5. In C minor, Opus 67, ta-ta-ta-ta-a-a. Even without annotated music you can hear that sound by reading my simple phonetic representation. This series of related notes repeats throughout the symphony, featuring various instruments in a variety of tempos. The symphony helps us understand the pleasure of working a theme, or way of being. You no longer need to feel bad about doing the same thing over and over again with great variety. Sacred symmetry and contracts. Because we are adding these variations, I believe that everything in creation is not an exact version of sacred geometry. If the manifestation is in perfect alignment with the original plan, then it is a perfect expression of sacred geometry, but if it is not, then it could be something different. This is the difference between a natural course and its variations. We have big contracts that we have agreed to and we do not worry about the details. We let the details take care of themselves. We might set up smaller contracts as we go along. There are other contracts that we get into and later decide that we cannot proceed as we thought we could. As we examine them, we recognize that something has happened, some flaw or deviation. In the reality, we might experience it as deciding not to do something we had signed up to do. It is no longer in our range of satisfying experiences and we do not want to proceed. In biology, we would refer to it as a spontaneous permutation of the DNA or cell structures. Deciding you cannot proceed is akin to the nature metaphor where the plant aborts or dies. When some kind of flaw occurs and adaptability fails, we can choose a way out. When we arrange our contracts, we have circumstances in which we decide to partake. As we discover and explore circumstances, there are times when we decide we want to pursue a different path. We may decide to meet up further down the road in this direction. You might compare it to telling a hiking friend, "I will take this other route and meet you further along the path." Other levels of contracts are the more spontaneous contracts that do not seem to fit the mold. Some of you will find your spontaneous contracts shift and evolve very quickly. As the world shifts and evolves, situations change and people need to change their contracts. Sometimes we volunteer to change contracts, sometimes we are conscripted to change contracts. I believe we are in a zone where our contracts are constantly being renegotiated. This is because we are in a cycle where we are evolving back to God. We are on the in-breath of God. As we undo, clean up, and clear out so much of our history in the miscreation, what we are going to end up with provides many opportunities to change our contracts and take big, big leaps. Why do I keep forgetting important things? We covered this question earlier with reverse déjà vu. Yet many of my workshop participants ask this question. What you are forgetting is something that really does not serve you to know. You are allowing for the reformat of your version of the reality. The old templates are fading and the new ones are replacing them. These are dramatically different compared to those of the past. In another kind of experience, you may think you are forgetting important things when in reality you are moving interdimensionally. The easy solution is to ask your higher self, what is going on? In that way you give yourself the opportunity to hear the whole story. Right now, without your higher self connection providing information, your ego is reframing everything in terms of what it, or mass consciousness, wants you to believe. Ego deliberately takes experiences and puts them into a third-dimensional construct. The bottom line is you did indeed remember correctly, but your mind is trying to make your memory wrong, instead of accepting the multiple experiences of your reality. So open up to possibilities. The fastest way this can occur is to open up your heart, which will enable your higher self to communicate more clearly. Ego wants to show the way and be in control. However, if you allow your higher self to show you what you need to know, you will be using the part of you that is already plugged into God. Your higher self-consciousness provides the information instantly. It has the active ability to find answers, just as when you do a search on the internet. Memory is an ego-based construct. Higher self is not reliant on the past, memory, but the ever-present now. Seek to activate your higher self-connection to know what you need to know, when you need to know it. Multiple versions of the reality. There are three major components to these versions of the reality. There are multiple versions of planet Earth. The first version is the crash and burn version, the second one is an ascension portal, and the third is a new polarity experiment in which you may request to participate. Because we are using multiple versions of the reality, we can literally transform all of darkness into light. We no longer need to do it step by step, correcting each mistake. Instead, by creating from the highest and best choice of any set of possibilities in any given moment, we are experiencing multiple versions simultaneously, which are either God or not God. One toward the light, one toward the dark. Although version 2, the ascension portal, technically contains version 1 within it, version 1 is not really recognized as part of version 2's scenario. Because in version 2, out of both versions being experienced, only version 2 is ultimately recorded. Version 1. Version 1 is the sacrificial lamb, as it is a duplicate, clone, of version 2, but with a crash and burn outcome. Did you see the 2006 movie The Prestige? In a particularly stunning discovery, a magician uncovers a cloning machine. Then in his magic act he drops into a water tank and deliberately drowns himself while a clone of him appears behind a curtain a few seconds later. The movie is filled with macabre twists and turns but does an amazing job of presenting a facsimile of the possibility of being able to clone oneself immediately before dying, albeit in the film's case through special effects and technology. However, it does present an ethical issue, suicide, that I am not commenting on here since my worldview includes 3 worlds. The implications are that although we know version 1 of the reality is set up to allow those who are intent upon destroying the world to have their way, it will not matter because there is another, true, version of the reality where that will not happen. By focusing on the most evolved version of the Earth imaginable, you will ensure you will not be part of version 1. In version 1, the crash and burn version, Earth will follow a course to destruction. It is an interesting scenario, which allows the free will of those determined to pursue greed and materialism to get what they created. Even if you are in this version, and that is not likely, you are probably not fully participating and your existence will become less and less real. If this feels like your current reality, choose to shift your focus to version 2. There is likely a version of you already there, working its way through the ascension energy. We have already moved into version 2. There is still some overlap from the crash and burn scenario, but we are well on our way to creating heaven on earth. Professional trance channel and prolific author Robert Shapiro echoes this sentiment in E.T. Contact Update. A heart-opening encounter, in the January 2020 issue of the Sedona Journal of Emergence. Version 2. Version 2 is Earth and her ascension. You are here. What I have been shown is that Mother Earth is taking her time making this ascension. She wants as many individuals as possible to be able to become ascended beings in their three-dimensional bodies, so that when she becomes ascended, human beings are already there waiting for her. At the end of this cycle, version 2 becomes the beloved choice of mankind, which then allows Earth to make her ascension gracefully, without massive harm or destruction to mankind. Version 2 is the ascension portal where Mother Earth and all her inhabitants will move into a fifth-dimensional expression, and the great golden age that was predicted appears. We are already in the early stages of that. Version 3. Once it became clear that Earth's experiment was successful, there was an immediate appeal to the Council of Light that requested the opportunity for a new Earth to continue the polarity experience, but to allow for a change in the rules. Version 3 is the version of Earth where there will be a new polarity game and the rules are different from the current rules. For instance, the Elemental Kingdom has appealed for, and won, the right to have a say in the way things work. In version 3 you will not be able to just cut down a tree, you will have to ask permission or have some sort of ceremony. Nature will be treated with greater reverence. Version 3 is a place where beings incarnate because they desire the polarity experience. However, compared to the version of Earth in which we are currently involved, beings in version 3 would not have the ability to go as deeply into pain and suffering. Those who are not yet ready to embody their full mastery will have the opportunity to evolve here. Wild walk-ins. I believe that people are time traveling. I have been reminding students over and over that individuals are leapfrogging over themselves as walk-ins. This jumping ahead is easier than trying to learn everything. It is a much faster way of stepping away from polarity experience. The information I received from my guides is that when a person has a walk-in experience, the individual who leaves will go to school in the etheric realms and a more evolved version of the same being will move into that individual's place. Most walk-in experiences are higher versions of you. Who has a better right to walk into your body than you? Other versions of you. I believe that once a being becomes fifth-dimensional, any experience gained with the polarity and scarcity game loses its appeal. I prefer to bring in fifth-dimensional energies rather than stepping up the polarity party. We are changing the way we are experiencing life and not repeating the past. In addition, I have seen multiple versions of the same people on the planet at the same time. If you are playing a game of chess, you are all the white pieces. You are the white rook and the white king, the white knight and the white pawns, 12 players in all. Many highly evolved beings have multiple versions of themselves here on the planet at this very moment. Consider this passage from the book Return of the Revolutionaries, by practicing physician and reincarnation researcher Walter Semke. Perhaps the most dramatic example of Auden Ree's abilities involves the case of Neil Donald Walsh, author of the Conversations with God series. When I asked Auden Ree who Mr. Walsh had been in revolutionary times, he told me that Mr. Walsh was a minister in Boston, a Freemason, who was friends with Abigail Adams. Auden Ree told me the minister's name was Reverend Walter. Though this minister is not featured in any history book that I know of, I was able to find Reverend William Walter through a genealogical society, and his facial features, personality traits, and interests matched those of Mr. Walsh. When this information was presented to Mr. Walsh, he resonated with it and agreed to be featured in my book as the reincarnation of Reverend William Walter. One of my clients approached Dr. Semke after his presentation in Seattle and told him that a teacher she knew, referring to me, said there is more than one version of a person in embodiment at a time. For example, that might mean that there is more than one Martha Washington. She asked if he had any comments on that. He reported to her that indeed he felt that this idea was accurate, as he believed he had met another version of himself in Japan. After giving a lecture, he was approached by a medical doctor from India. They each felt an instant familiarity with the other's work. Dr. Semke discovered this other doctor had been pursuing a similar but separate line of research. This was a line of research Dr. Semke previously followed, but had given it up as his current work took precedence. He has gone on to write several more books on his research into reincarnation. In another dramatic example, two women with the same first name of Bonnie and last names beginning with the letter T wrote to me for Akashic Records readings in the same week. Later they both signed up for the same Flower of Life workshop in Atlanta. In class we discovered they had the same birthday and year. One woman was Caucasian and the other African American. They both wanted to sponsor me in Atlanta for a return class, so we agreed to split it between them, and I would teach one class at each location. One of the women reported that a few months later she was on a flight to Mexico City. Looking across the aisle, she saw the other Bonnie at the opposite window. Interestingly, they were both in first-class seating. There are significant souls who have come onto this planet and embodied in many bodies in order to be part of the consciousness shift. Thus, there really could be two of a famous person. If you were this masterful being, would you put all of your essence into one person expecting everything to work out? Hardly. Their place is purposeful and important, and so is yours. As these individuals shift and get into position, they may develop unique skills, or perhaps, remember them, is a more accurate phrase, and become highly specialized. They will often come together to create, remember, a modality or tool for humanity. Occasionally a walk-in is the oversoul of the individual, in much the same way as the above circumstances we described. The Oversoul is a more finely tuned essential energy that can anchor in more and more of the transformational energy that is part of our new Earth. Bridge of Light. Volunteers from the Gridworkers Union worked with the Hathors to build a complex bridge of light on the planet to open a direct portal from Venus for the Hathors. This occurred around the time of the 3 summer eclipses of 2009. This group of grid workers was asked to focus on one of 4 major areas on the Earth, with each area carrying a specific energy type. With the group's participation, the Hathors then built a pyramid of light that is used as a portal or bridge between here and their home planet, Earth to Venus. Many of the individuals received significant messages, experiences, and tangible gifts as a direct result of this project. You can, too. I now understand the proof that this bridge is active in those pictures where Sanat Kumar's energy is present. Any photos you have taken with this striking appearance are an indication this energy is working with you. Invite the Hathors into your world. Ask them to join you and assist you in becoming the most loving being possible. Then offer yourself in service to the Hathors by being their agent in the physical and moving their energy through you. You will be amazed at how this will improve your life. Memo from the Divine Mother. In the summer of 2009, the planet was bathed in the energy of the balanced female for both men and women. There was a need for a new female energy on the planet. This new energy would replace all the misuses of the Divine Feminine. 27 Even my book editor, who is not prone to messages, was told in the shower, the Divine Feminine wants to speak with Maureen. He doubted it and asked his higher self if that message was real. She answered, yes, his higher self is a woman. When my boys were young I prayed daily for the mantle of the Divine Mother because I was so worried that I wouldn't do a good enough job as a single mom. Maybe I would have, but at that time I didn't want to take any chances. Earlier in this decade, after my own sons were grown, the permanent flame of the mantle of the Divine Mother had been bestowed upon me. When my assistant relayed my editor's message to me, it was not a complete surprise. My Sacred Journey group had been working with these very same energies in Egypt. I had been told that this new energy would finally be installed into the reality by the end of September 2009. These energies would make it possible for all of humanity to embrace their femininity in a balanced way. Here is a note from my journal dated October 2, 2009. Last night I couldn't sleep. I was so excited, like a child before her first trip to the amusement park. One of the Egypt participants, Mark, who had been having pain in his shoulder, had asked if this pain was about the work we did at Isis Temple on Philae Island, and I said it was. Mark could see the image and described it to me. I showed him the Great Winged Disc, see figure 14.2, and his response was, yes, that is it. He, Mark, said he was told in a channeling that when he released this device its purpose was to anchor in the Divine Feminine for all of humanity. I began to realize that my excitement had to do with my soul's joy at these impending events. My guides came in to further clarify Mark's experience and said, this, Mark's message above, we say is true. Claim connection to this Divine Feminine energy. Figure 14.2. The Great Winged Sun Disk is a symbol associated with divinity, royalty, and power. It is said to confer protection against evil. Here is the rest of her message, delivered through me while I was in Egypt. We are here for you. Give yourself permission to be the Divine Feminine in action daily. Take time daily to scribe your thoughts. Invite the true Divine Feminine to speak through you daily. Do it like this. I ask that the Divine Feminine speak through me this day. I ask permission for the Divine Feminine to reside here, in the physical, in my body. Let all aspects of the Divine Feminine be anchored here in my body so that I am expressing the fullness of the Divine Feminine through me this day. Do this prayer daily. Do it 3 times in a row, spoken out loud. Conclude with, I ask this for myself and for all of humanity. Your work with the Divine Feminine was to anchor this very energy into the physical, which you have done. Your ceremony at Philae in the Temple of Isis is significant. You anchored into this reality the Great Winged Disc that represents balance of both male and female. Mark, Egypt participant, carried this device into the physical, as he was a priestess in the sacred temple here in Egypt. He volunteered for this job because of his connection here. You anchored the energy into this crystal with your work earlier. 28 He threw it into the water after the removal and launched the device, Winged Disc, spreading this energy to the entire planet through the river Nile. Everywhere on the planet the role of the Divine Feminine is changing. Your job is to anchor in this energy through your prayer. I asked, should this message go out to the world? The Divine Feminine responded, yes, in the Beyond the Flower of Life book. This message must be treated with utmost respect. Earlier we came through you when you asked about the sacred sex magic of Isis. The time has come for this magic to be reinitiated on the planet. When you were asked, we spoke through you to explain that the Divine Feminine is to initiate women into sacred sex. They are to learn this and then teach it to their beloved partners. Male impotence on Earth represents the dysfunction of males on the planet who have been emasculated by women and then expected to perform in bed. I asked, what is to be done? Men and women everywhere must learn to embody the Divine Feminine. Only then will this torture stop. Michael's message on light and dark. While in Paris following my sister's funeral, I came up from the Paris metro heading to Notre Dame and saw a magnificent mural of Archangel Michael wielding his mighty sword, artfully assembled into the tiled wall. It was more than 12 feet tall. You may recall that he is the sponsor of this book and of the Merkaba. At that moment in the metro, Archangel Michael showed me the balance of light and dark. It was a huge, aha, moment for me. What he explained is that we no longer have to see an equal amount of darkness as holding the balance for the light. He went on to provide an example. All we need is the equivalent of a homeopathic dose of darkness. That small amount will be able to maintain balance with the light and allow the light to permeate our reality. I leave you with this wonderful message of hope for yourself and for our planet. Footnotes. *1. My first spiritual teacher, an amazing, brilliant, loving woman who inspired and taught me patiently and generously, passed on December 19, 2008. Thank you, Charlotte. May your family of light continue to honor you in your memory. *2. Ascension has many meanings. See my book Waking Up in 5D for a clear and deeper explanation of the ascension I referred to here. *3. As related in Willis Barnstone's The Other Bible, New York, HarperCollins, 1984, 705. *4. For instructions on how to build a cardboard Merkaba, visit the Merkaba page on Maureen's website. *5. The Great White Brotherhood is the body of ascended men and women, regardless of race, whose sole purpose is to assist humankind and move creation toward the light. *6. The Akashic Records are the library of all human existence located in the 11th dimension outside of the Earth. For more on this topic, please refer to my book Opening the Akashic Records. You may also decide a private session is appropriate for your needs. *7. Mantras for Ascension by Maureen J. St. Germain. *8. Known as a divine being and an incarnation of the one true God, Lord Krishna is a major deity of Hinduism. He is also the hero of the Bhagavad Gita, featured in one of the most celebrated epic stories of the Mahabharata, which was written between the 5th and 2nd centuries BCE. It is required reading for any yoga instructor. *9. Quoted material reprinted with permission from the Hather material by Tom Kenyon and Virginia Essene, C. Publishing. TomKenyon.com. *10. Some individuals are capable of higher connections due to huge traumas they experienced in childhood that cause them to create, workaround, connections. In my book Reweaving the Fabric of Your Reality, I explain them as survival psychics. These connections are a patchwork, evading the heart, not authentic heart connections, and eventually must go through the heart in order to build their God connection authentically. If they do not, they will not be able to achieve full integration of the four lower bodies. *11. An enlightened being is someone completely connected to his or her God sense while maintaining a presence in the physical body. Christ, the Buddhas, Muhammad, and others achieved this. So can you. 12. An extra in the film industry is a member of the unidentified crowd who has no speaking lines. 13. The Lewis and Clark expedition sought the non-existent Northwest Passage in the Louisiana Purchase of the United States, 1804-6. *14. Kinesiology is the technique of monitoring a body response to stimulus. Professionals who use this tool will ask for a physical body response such as being able to resist pressure for the control, and then base further responses on resistance or non-resistance responses. *15. Applied kinesiology tests muscles for strength and weakness. *16. Merkaba 2, Guided Meditation CD, contains these statements after breath 14. *17. It takes 45 days to process a decision before new genetics kick in, according to Donald Epstein. DC, founder of Network Spinal Analysis Chiropractic System and author of The 12 Stages of Healing, 18. The Merkaba 2 CD is available in stores or at the Source Books and Sacred Spaces website. *19. There are many healers available to assist you with that process if you find you want to jumpstart your healing. You might consider emotional freedom and healing, craniosacral work, or NAET, Nambudripad's allergy elimination technique, acupuncture. *20. The body elemental is a type of engineer energy that works tirelessly for the physical human body. It is a gift of Mother Earth to the person and looks just like you, only it is smaller in size. It is your body elemental whose job it is help your physical body running in your earthly body. The physical body and the body elemental are paired, like headphones to your phone. They are joined so you can fit in on the earth. The earthly body needs an engineer to run all your systems, and your body elemental serves this purpose. More information as well as a guided meditation on interacting with your body elemental can be found on my website. *21. If this traveling back in time story is not amazing enough, check out the Wingmakers website about an intergalactic mission that landed on Earth and time traveled backward to create a history. *22. In June 2007, Maureen led a Peru sacred journey to continue the tasks of the gridwork that had been started in Egypt the previous year. *23. I have written about this in more detail in Reweaving the Fabric of Your Reality. *24. The word Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, or anointed. The Christ consciousness grid refers to an energy in the hierarchy held by those who retained its self-mastery. In other words, it radiates the energy of an ascended earth for all to move into resonance with it. It could just as easily have been named the Buddha consciousness grid or Muhammad consciousness grid. *25. What I believe Sanat Kumara was referring to is the growth and expansion of manifestation teachings such as the film The Secret and others. *26. In case you missed it, it was written about in the dedication and in Chapter 1. Asterisk 27. This topic is explored fully in my book Waking Up in 5D, 28. Maureen had been given a crystal that had been mined in the Arctic Circle for the purpose of serving the highest good. She connected it to her Alpha and Omega crystal and her other crystals that carry special programming for the planet. This crystal was given to Mark before the ceremony in Isis Temple so that he would have it to throw into the Nile at the conclusion of the ceremony. Endnotes. 1. History of the Merkaba and important notes for your practice. 1. The Divine Throne Chariot, the Dead Sea Scroll Collection, the Gnostic Society Library, online. 2. James Breasted, The Dawn of Consciousness, Create Space Independent Publishing Platform, 2017, 71. 3. Maureen J. St. Germain, Waking Up in 5D. A Practical Guide to Multidimensional Transformation, Rochester, VT. Bear and Company, 2017. 2. New Tools for Learning and Practicing Unconditional Love. 1. Hiroshi Motoyama, Karma and Reincarnation, London. Judy Pietkus Publishers, 1992, 52. 2. Tony Stubbs, An Ascension Handbook, Channeled Material by Serapis Lithia Springs, GA. World Tree Press, 2009, 93. 3. Susan Shepard, Illustrations by Tony Taylor, The Phoenix Cards. Reading and Interpreting Past Life Influences with the Phoenix Deck, Rochester, VT. Destiny Books, 1990. 3. Toning, Chants, and Exercises 2. Open Your Heart. 1. Wayne Dyer, Getting in the Gap. Making Conscious Contact with God Through Meditation, Carlsbad, Caliph. Hay House, Inc., 2014. 2. Tom Kenyon and Virginia Essene, The Hather Material, Santa Clara, California. SEE Pub, 1996, 126-29. 3. Kenyon and Essene, Hather Material, 126. 4. Mark L. Prophet and Elizabeth Clare Prophet, The Masters and Their Retreats, Gardiner, Mont. Summit University Press, 2003, 158. 5. Kenyon and Essene, Hather Material, 127. 6. Kenyon and Essene, Hather Material, 127. 7. J.J. Hurdick, The Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch, Lowell, Massachusetts. Academy of Future Science, 2009. 8. Robert Gass, Chanting, Discovering Spirit in Sound, Portland, Oregon. Broadway Books, 1999. 9. Phil Catalfo, Kirtan 101. Can you say, Om Namah Shivaya? Yoga Journal, online, August 28, 2007. 4. Initiating Contact with Your Higher Self. 1. Maureen St. Germain, Reweaving the Fabric of Your Reality, Self-Study Guide for Personal Transformation, Alpharetta, Georgia. Phoenix Rising Publishing, 2006. 8. Surrogate Merkaba, Both Useful and Destructive. 1. Jonathan Cott, The Search for OMM SETI, A True Story of Eternal Love, and One Woman's Voyage Through the Ages, New York. Grand Central Publishing, 1989, 271. 10. Clearing Fear with Dolphins, Whales, and Arrow Mandalas. 1. Patricia Coda Robles, An Opportunity to Help, Era of Peace Newsletter, 2006. 2. Leonard G. Horowitz, DNA. Pirates of the Sacred Spiral, EPUB. Tetrahedron, Elsevier, 2004. 3. Joan Ocean, Dolphins into the Future, Kealakekua, Hawaii, Dolphin Connection, 1997. 4. Lynn Gravhorn, Dear God, What's Happening to Us? Halting Eons of Manipulation, Charlottesville, VA. Hampton Roads, 2003. 11. Working with Earth's Energy Systems. 1. Bruce Cathy, The Energy Grid, Harmonic 695. The Pulse of the Universe, The Investigation into the World Energy Grid, Kempton, Ill. Adventures Unlimited Press, 1997. 13. Christ Consciousness Grid. 1. Maureen J. St. Germain, Be a Genie, Create Love, Success, and Happiness, New York, New York. Rising Phoenix Publishing, 2013. 14. Maintaining Balance and Staying Connected. 1. Walter Semke, Return of the Revolutionaries, The Case for Reincarnation and Soul Groups Reunited, Charlottesville, VA. Hampton Roads, 2003. Glossary. Akashic Records. Akasha means sky in Sanskrit. The term Akashic Records was popularized by Madame Blavatsky, founder of the Theosophy movement, as well as Edgar Cayce, American seer and mystic. When Cayce was asked, in a trance, where his information was coming from, he channeled that it came from the Book of Life, referred to in the Old Testament, and later explained the Book of Life as the same as the Akashic Records. In opening the Akashic Records, Maureen St. Germain channels this message from the keepers of the gates of Akasha. The idea of Akash or Akasha is often used to refer to anything unusual in the vast domain of the universe. The actual Akashic Records are a vibratory location that stores possible futures, probable futures, the present, and the past. The availability of information in the Akashic Records is to assist humans in their return home to God. It is to help you acquaint yourself with the bigger picture of life among the planetary systems. Ankh. A device shaped like a cross with a loop for the top. It has multiple spiritual contexts and was used by ancient Egyptians in spiritual ceremony. Ascension. The ritual whereby the soul reunites with the spirit of Source, creating the perfected human. This is the first attempt for humans to ascend without death. Astral plane. The astral plane is a vibrational part of the lower fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is a polarity plane of existence where energies vortex upward, high fourth, or downward, lower fourth. It is a plane of seduction and challenging to move away from. Because the astral plane has been muddied by impure human thoughts and feelings, the term astral is often used in a negative context to refer to that which is impure. Bhagavad Gita, a highly regarded Hindu spiritual text telling the story of Arjuna and Lord Krishna. It is part of the larger epic the Mahabharata. Bhajan. Sacred music from India where the songs are sung in unison, saying sacred prayers. Christed. A person earns this title, like one might earn the title of general in the military, by self-mastery through the 7 rays and balance through the threefold flame of the heart. Love, wisdom, and power, along with achieving mastery of the 4 lower bodies, becoming a master like the Christ, Buddhas, or Muhammad. Cosmic latticework. A network of energy lines forming a grid around the planet. The Christ consciousness grid is a well-known cosmic latticework. Dissolving fear of lack grid. A grid that was created by the grid workers to assist humanity through upheaval and changes so that people do not create more fear. Double square. This is 2 squares side by side, and has been used to define the space within the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. Elemental. A 4th dimensional being or energy that may interact with 3rd dimension. Elementals do not have free will and may operate in individuals, such as the body elemental, take the form of large energies, such as the elementals of earth, air, fire, or water, or operate singularly as in the elementals of fire, salamanders, earth, gnomes, elves, fairies, air, sylphs, and water, undines. Elemental kingdom. The seen and unseen forces that animate the flowers, plants, trees, soil, sand, rocks, stones, crystals. Although humans also have a body elemental, it is not quite the same, and you may work with your body elemental in a very personal way. Your body elemental is equivalent to an engineer, running the autonomous systems, and does not have free will. See also elemental above, Elohim. Creation beings who came out of Source, God. They are the builders of form mentioned in the first verse of the Bible, also referred to as the morning stars. They hold the highest concentration and vibration of light that we can comprehend. They oversee the 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water. 5th dimensional. A category of vibration without polarity. It is the equivalent of what traditional religions call heavenly. Fractal-like. Fractals are a term invented by mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot, who created the term referring to the resulting images created from massive iterations of fractions representing irrational numbers. Fractal images have a quality of appearing self-referencing, even though they come from irrational, not resolvable, numbers. Implants. Specifically refers to alien implants that may be positive and or negative in influence. Lord Metatron. Overseer of the angelic realm, he burst forth from God, yet is not God. He sits at the right hand of God, and stands between creation and the void. Perfection suit. A term I created to help you understand that your ascended master body will be the equivalent of perfection. Pranic tube. An 18-inch or wider cylinder-like tube that resembles a fluorescent light bulb, running from above your crown chakra, about 5 inches above your head, to 5 inches below your feet. Rebirthing. A specialized healing modality created by Leonard Orr to facilitate out-of-body spiritual experiences that advance the consciousness of the individual. Seed groups of humanity. According to esoteric tradition, there are 7 primary seed groups, known as the 7 root races. The earliest root races achieved ascension before the fall of Adam and Eve. It was during the 4th root race that incarnated on Lemuria that the perversions of free will occurred. Sechum Reiki. A modified form of Reiki that utilizes a high vibrational energy and heals on a deeper level. Star tetrahedron. 2 tetrahedrons nested midway to produce a 6-pointed 3-dimensional figure. Stellated dodecahedron. A regular polyhedron with 12 pentagonal faces, which have an elevated point in the center connected to the intersection of each edge. Each face looks like the Chrysler symbol. Toroidal, torus. A torus vortex is an expression of dynamic life force whether in climate, ocean currents, chemistry, or many other vitally charged energy forms. Its shape can have many variations depending on the medium in which it exists. For example, a smoke ring in air or a bubble ring in water both form the toroidal shape of a donut. And yet an apple, pinecone, or barrel cactus are torus forms but are more overtly spherical. Plants and trees can display the same energy flow process, yet exhibit a wide variety of shapes and sizes. Hurricanes, tornadoes, magnetic fields around planets and stars, and whole galaxies themselves can be toroidal energy systems. Since the study of sacred geometry has observed this dynamic shape to be a consistent flow form in the quantum realm, we can postulate that atomic structures and systems are also made of the same dynamic form. Physicists who witness this energy form indicate that, for the most part, its influence is not in the visible realm. Undines. Commonly referring to the elementals of water. See elemental above. Vedic system of the 7 rays. an organizing system of wisdom, law, and thought initially taught in the Western world by Theosophy and later by the I Am movement. It is defined by color, as well as ascended masters, and location, i.e., Mount Shasta. Violet flame. The seventh ray energy of transmutation and forgiveness, established by the ascended master Saint Germain, to assist humanity on their return path to Source. Walk-ins. Individual souls who have desired death or had near-death experiences and trade places with another soul willing to take on the physical body position in order to continue a mission. A walk-in is always by agreement. About the author. Maureen J. Saint Germain is the founder of Transformational Enterprises and Akashic Record Guides International. An internationally recognized teacher and intuitive, she is the author, musician, and producer of more than 15 guided meditation CDs, and she is the author of 4 books, including Waking Up in 5D. She lives in San Diego and New York. About Inner Traditions. Bear & Company. Founded in 1975, Inner Traditions is a leading publisher of books on indigenous cultures, perennial philosophy, visionary art, spiritual traditions of the East and West, sexuality, holistic health and healing, self-development, as well as recordings of ethnic music and accompaniments for meditation. In July 2000, Bear & Company joined with Inner Traditions and moved from Santa Fe, New Mexico, where it was founded in 1980, to Rochester, Vermont. Together Inner Traditions. Bear & Company have 11 imprints. Inner Traditions, Bear & Company, Healing Arts Press, Destiny Books, Park Street Press, Bindu Books, Bear Cub Books, Destiny Recordings, Destiny Audio Editions, Inner Traditions en Espanol, and Inner Traditions India. For more information or to browse through our more than 1,000 titles in print and ebook formats, visit www.innertraditions.com. Become a part of the Inner Traditions community to receive special offers and members-only discounts. Books of related interest. Waking Up in 5D. A Practical Guide to Multidimensional Transformation. By Maureen J. Saint Germain. Opening the Akashic Records. Meet your record keepers and discover your soul's purpose. By Maureen J. Saint Germain. Healing with Light Frequencies. The Transformative Power of Star Magic. By Jerry Sargent. Unlocking the 7 Secret Powers of the Heart. A Practical Guide to Living in Trust and Love. By Shai Tubali. The Cosmic Hologram. Information at the Center of Creation. By Jude Caravan, Ph.D. Forward by Irvin Laszlo. The Council of Light. Divine Transmissions for Manifesting the Deepest Desires of the Soul. By Danielle Rama Hoffman. Bringers of the Dawn. Teachings from the Pleiadians. By Barbara Marciniak. Cell Level Meditation. The Healing Power in the Smallest Unit of Life. By Barry Grunland, M.D. and Patricia K., M.A. Inner Traditions. Bear & Company. P.O. Box 388. Rochester, VTO 5767-1-800-246-8648. www.innertraditions.com. Or contact your local bookseller. Bear & Company. 1 Park Street, Rochester, Vermont, 05767. www.bearandcompanybooks.com. Bear & Company is a division of Inner Traditions International. Copyright 2009, 2021 by Maureen J. Saint Germain. First edition published in 2009 by Phoenix Rising Publishing under the title Beyond the Flower of Life. Multidimensional Activation of Your Higher Self, the Inner Guru. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced or utilized in any form or by any means, electronic or mechanical, including photocopying, recording, or by any information storage and retrieval system, without permission in writing from the publisher. Cataloging and publication data for this title is available from the Library of Congress. Print ISBN 978-1-59143-4054. Ebook ISBN 978-1-59143-4061. To send correspondence to the author of this book, mail a first-class letter to the author C.O. Inner Traditions. Bear & Company, 1 Park Street, Rochester, Vermont, 05767, and we will forward the communication, or contact the author directly at maureenstgermain.com. Index. Page numbers in italic type refer to illustrations. All page numbers are referred to the print edition of this title. Abuse, Healing, 32-34, 137. Abu Symbol, 232-33. Advance Awareness, 82-83, 187-88, 246-47. Akashic Records, 40, 40N, 217, 223. Alexander, Charlotte, 1. Aliens, 140-41. Ambition, Lakev, 225. Ancestral Clearing Exercise, 38-40. Angels, 6, 80-81, 153, 156, 161, 169, 200, 223. Ankh, 27. Anu, 239. Apartment Protection Story, 156. Armor, 41-42. Arrow Mandalas Orion Essential Oil Blends, 47, 169, 174-77, 200. Arthur, King, 210. Ascended Masters, 6, 46, 228-29, 238. See also Sanat Kumara, Ascension, Ascension Work, 27, 36, 130, 229, 235, 238, 239, 249 and Blow to the Heart, 43-45. Enchanting, 67-69. Defined, 6, 6n. And Emotional Healing, 54, 67-69. Fear and 169-71. Goliv, 72. Implants and 190, 195. Merkaba and 16, 18-19. Ascension Portal, 254, 255. Asking for what you need, 74-75. Asking twice, 3. Asking your higher self, 127, 131. Astral Plane, 212-13. Attention, 127-28. Author, C. Saint Germain, Maureen J. Author. Autopilot, 204. Avalon, 210. Beethoven's Fifth, 252. Belief, 101. Barazan, Jennifer, 64. Bhagavad Gita, 54. Bhajans, 54. Bible Code, the 183. Black Helicopters, 139-47. Described, 139-41. And Merkaba Fields, 139-47 Sightings, 143-44. Time Travel and 144-47. Bliss, 46-47. Blow to the Heart, 40-47, 219. Bodies, 4 lower, 52-54. Body Confirmation, 160. Body Elemental, 176, 176n. Boyk, Cheryl, Earth Grid Image, 227. Book of Knowledge, the Herdic, 60. Braden, Greg, 62, 160. Breaths and Mudras, 9-14, 17. Bridge of Light, 258-59. But now, 34. Kathy, Bruce, 187. Celebration of New Earth Changes, 236. Cell Phone Story, 110. Chanting, 60-69. See also Toning. Additional Powerful Chants, 62-64. And Ascension Work, 67-69. Hebrew Chant, 60-62. Timelessness of, 62-64. Chariot to Ride in, 5-9. Checking in, 145. Child, Being Like A, 113. Child with ADD, Merkaba Story, 153-54. Christ Consciousness Grid, 6, 16, 197, 226-34. Christed, 196-97. Christianity, 9. Clarity, Lack of, 93. Collective Consciousness, 221. Commitment, 23, 96-97, 116. Communication, 94. Condo Sales Story, 132. Consciousness, 21, 51, 56-57, 213, 221, 223. Contracts with the Universe, 250-51. Cosmic Latticework, 135. Coda Robles, Patricia, 173. Council of Light, 228. Creativity, 213-14, 250-51. Crystals, 89, 119. Curry Lines, 187. Dark Energies, Dissolving, 187-90. Date Question Story, 78. Dead Sea Scrolls, 8-9. Death, 40. Diva Premal, 62. Devices, Implanted, 195-96, 197-98. Dimensions, 206-25. First, 208. Second, 208. Third, 109, 123, 208. Fourth, 210-14. Fifth, see Fifth Dimension. Sixth, 220. Seventh, 220-21. Eighth, 221. Ninth, 221. 10th, 222. 11th, 222-23. 12th, 223. 13th, 223. Becoming Multidimensional, 223-24. Disappearing Objects, 109-10, 137, 211-12. Dissolving Fear of Lack Grid, 192-93. Divine Light Body, 9-10. Divine Mother, Memo from, 259-62. Divine Plans, 173. DNA, 13-14, 134, 170, 181. Dolphins, 181-84. Fear Clearing with, 168-69. Healing with, 167-69. Keeping Peace, 184. Sacred Journey Dolphin Swim, 177-80. Swimming with, in Meditation, 181-82. Double Square, 241. Dreams, 119, 191 to 93. Precognitive, 187 to 88. Drugs, 18 to 19, 125. Drunvalo Melchizedek, Ix, 2, 6, 7, 12, 15, 16, 19, 22, 26, 75, 127, 228. And Dolphin Swim, 167 to 68. On Surrogate Merkei Ba, Ix, 2, 6, 7, 15, 16, 19, 22, 26, 75, 76, 127, 228. Duat, 240. Dyer, Wayne, 49, 62. Earth, See Mother Earth, Earth Changes, 238. Earth Grid Image, 227, 227. Earth's Energy System. Ley Lines, 186 to 87. Working with, 186 to 202. Ego. Eliminating, 98 to 100. And Higher Self, 254. And Trusting Higher Self-Knowledge, 224. Egypt, 9, 27, 29, 65 to 67, 151, 160, 170, 240 to 41, 260. Travels to, 65 to 66, 231 to 33. Einstein, Albert, 126. Elementals, 57 to 59. Elements, 7. Link to the Elemental Kingdom, 57 to 59. Elf Waves, 191 to 92. El Kalim Om Chant, 50 to 52, 54 to 60. Emergency Room Story, 85 to 86. Emotional Body, 53 to 54. Emotional Energy, Misuses of, 239 to 40. Emotional Wounds, 49, 67, 175, 217. Clearing, 54, 136 to 37, 174 to 77, 243. And Essential Oils, 175 to 77. And Hebrew Chant, 61. Emotions, 3 Key, 169. Enlightened Being, Defined, 73n. Essential Oils, 47, 169, 173 to 77, 200. Etheric Body, 53. ETs, 140 to 41. Evolution, 170, 173, 183, 253, 254 to 58. Exercises. Ancestral Clearing, 38 to 40. Forgiveness, 37 to 38. I Love You, 30 to 36. Self-Forgiveness, 36 to 38. Toning, 50. External Merkaba, 149. Extras and the Polarity Reality, 73 to 74. Family Matters and Higher Self, 86. Father Sky, 21, 31, 58. Fear, 187 to 88, 215, 248. Clearing, 167 to 85. Facing, 171. Fearlessness in Fifth Dimension, 215 to 16. As Fuel for Ascension Work, 169 to 70. Of Lack, 192 to 93. Misuse of, 173. Purpose of, 170. Of Shame, 173 to 74. Fear of Water Story, 168 to 69. Feeling Body, 165 to 66. Fifth Dimension, 123, 149 to 50, 183 to 84, 224, 225. And Changing History, 216 to 17. Emergence 2, 47. Fearlessness in, 215 to 16. Forgetting in, 215. And Heaven, 203. Moving to, 214 to 16. And Non-Polarity, 219 to 20. Privileges in, 150 to 52. Verses 3rd, 109. Flower of Life, Ix, 230, 231. Forgetting, Important Things, 253 to 54. Forgiveness, 36 to 38, 42, 118 to 19. Forgiveness Exercise, 36 to 38. Freefall, 194. Free Will, 94, 154, 157. Fungus Clearing Story, 175 to 77. Future, Assurance of, 194. Gandhi, Mahatma, 242. Gas, Robert, 63. Geometry, Sacred, Ix, 4, 67, 91, 118, 234, 252. Glass, Philip, 63 to 64. Gnomes, 58 to 59. Golden Rule, 193. Good, Bad, 152. Governments, 250. Great Pyramid, 65. Great White Brotherhood, 20, 74. Grids, 186 to 202. See also under Individual Grids. Gridwork, 186 to 202. Key Elements of, 198 to 200. Process of, 200 to 202. Gridworkers Union, 190 to 93, 198, 234, 258 to 59. Group Awareness, 221. Group Dynamic, 213. Group Expression, 220 to 21. Group Mind, 182. Group Structure, 220. Guides, 80 to 81. Guru, Inner, 235 to 36. Hallelujah, 62 to 63. Harry Potter, 211. Hartman Lines, 187. Hadim, 65 to 66. Hather Chant, 50 to 52, 54 to 60. Hather Material, The Kenyan in a Scene, 27, 50 to 51. Hathors, 28. Humor of, 59 to 60. What to Ask, 30. Working with, 27 to 30. Heart, as Translator for Higher Self, 43. Heart, Blow to the, 40 to 47, 219. Heart Connection, 26 to 27. See also Heart Opening. Heart Grid, 195 to 97. Heart Knowing, 165 to 66. Heart Opening, 26 to 27, 30 to 36, 43, 68 to 69, 171 to 72, 238 to 39, 242 to 43. Heaven, 203 to 4, 219. Heaven on Earth. Author's First Day of, 209 to 10. Creating, 203 to 25. Hebrew Chant, 60 to 62. Hebrew Tradition and Egyptian Tradition, 9. Helicopters. See Black Helicopters Help, Asking for, 74 to 75. Higher Self, 77. See also Higher Self Connection, Lower Self. Communications from, 72 Defined, 70 to 71. Distinguishing from Lower Self, 78 to 81. Emergency Room Story, 85 to 86. Family Matters and, 86. Full Integration of, 100 to 102. As Guide, 244. Initiating Contact with, 70 to 95. As Inner Guru, 235 to 36. Inviting, 115. Logical Reason for Following, 108 to 9. 911 and, 83 to 84. Signals from, 86 to 91. Teaching at Signals, 87 to 88. 3 Agreements with, 115. What is a real signal from? 86, 91 to 92. Higher Self Connection, 4, 12, 43, 75, 239.